continue with the Sefer Mesillat Yesharim with the commentary of the Bovavi Mishkan. Evne, we're on page Samach Aleph. We've done the first two paragraphs of the page. And in yesterday's lesson, the author teaches us that the proof that there's intimacy in a relationship, and what is required to have intimacy in a relationship, is the fact that there is a attention to the details. And it was explained in terms of how you give a gift or things like that, that the more that you involve yourself in understanding the intimate details of someone, the more you'll feel connected to that person, and the more you'll notice more about those intimate details. And with that, Luzzatto went and explained, the whole issue of what the Luzzatto was talking about, that people will see the details and not notice them about Yiddishkeit. He says, there's what he called Chasidus Gasa, there's gross Chasidus, as it were, very Chasidus focusing on the big things, but that the fine details are lost. And we said that the fine details can come in two ways, either from the heart or the mind. So the last thing we left off with, and we're rushing to get through that last point, which we're in the middle of, is that when a person's learning Torah, there's different ways to learn Torah, but the more detailed you get in your learning of Torah, the more intimately connected you are with the Torah. We said this is the reason why the Torah has so much detail. It's for us to get more involved in understanding those details, and by being involved in understanding those details, we become more intimately involved with the Torah, and that brings us much closer to it. So we ended off, for example, you find contradictory halachas in the Shulchan Aruch, but we answer the contradiction by saying that this situation that says A is a particular side of the coin, and B, which seemed to say the opposite, was a different side of the coin. So now you have even a further detailed understanding of the halachas. Okay, so that's where we ended off yesterday. So now we're in the third paragraph. Ma hatachlis lahagia l'seichel dak. What's the goal of getting to an intellectually refined understanding? Ma hatachlis shel hachidud. What's the point of this sharpness, of this focus to the detail? So the answer is l'shalev es haseichel hadak im hargasha hadaka shebalev. To join, merge the refined intellect with the also equally refined feelings of the heart, and to unify them in service of Hashem. And he's making a pun on the words. When they made the incense they made the incense for the incense offering. The people would crush it very finely, and they would say it as they're crushing it, hadek hetev, crush it finely. Zoe avoda. This is avodas Hashem, is to work on the fine details. That is what avodas Hashem is. So now, im ein la'adam es hadaka shebamoach v'sadaka shebalev. If a person doesn't have that care for detail that the mind is focusing on and the heart is focusing on, certainly any spiritual thing you do has a benefit, but you haven't come to the innermost point of service of Hashem, to the desired goal, which is the desirable goal is for a person to tie himself with a deep, strong connection and a fine-tuned connection with the reality of Hashem. And that only comes within the details of what you know. Right? Again, it's just like in anything else in life. The whole world is excited about the World Cup. To me, I couldn't care less about it. To my unrefined understanding of soccer, it's just a waste of time. You can sit for 2 hours, watch a soccer game, and there's no scoring. There's no scoring. Go to a 0-0 tie. It wouldn't be for a shootout. There would be no winner. And that's it. That's what everyone's excited about. I don't get it. I don't get it because I haven't refined my knowledge of the game. If I would really know, they say there's a lot of beauty to the plays, to the maneuvers, to the passing, to the, it's like an art form. Ken Zai? Okay, I'm not going to argue with you. I just don't care enough to look into it and learn and acquaint this to myself to this, or the whole idea of acquiring a taste for certain wines and things like that. To me, wine's wine. Either it's sweet or it's not. Finished.
Red or white.
Red or white. Girl said, "What are you talking about? There's a pungent aroma. There's this. There's that. There's a touch of flavor of this, that. Don't drain me a cup. It's either dry or sweet. Forget it. A little more sweet, less sweet. Finished." So, but the more you are intimately aware of the details, the more you care about it. So it's the same thing in anything else. So certainly with Hashem, it's the same thing. Say, well, okay, Hashem gave us a Torah, good. So that's the general idea. It's not the general idea. It's the detail in which which makes everything. The more you're involved and you see, wow, there's so much detail, there's so much to know. And the more you know about it, the more you feel part of it, the more you feel connected to it. And that's the way it is with Hashem, the way it is with people, the way it is with your spouse. The more you know about your spouse, the more detailed you find out that they are, the more you can get closer to them. So that's the same thing over here. So we've got to get the mind, at least in regards to Torah, the mind has to be focused on detail. And there's other things that would require the heart to be focused on detail. So we're dealing with the mind. So that's and certainly he's not giving examples, but there would be examples of the heart being focused on detail as well. So anyway, so that is the general notion that he's brought forth here. And that's going back to what Luzzatto was saying. Even though we know that the general ideas of Yiddishkeit are important, but if you don't get involved in looking at it in a deep way, the details will pass you right by. You won't even notice that they're there. You won't even notice. It's the dented car. That's not your car. You don't care. And you'll see there's beauty in Torah. You're not going to notice it. So that's the point he's bringing out here. Okay. Now, he's going to give examples. Lefiza, based on this, Novin es habaya haklali shekayamis b'chaim v'nitein dignos pshutos. Now, we'll understand the overall problem people have with their Yiddishkeit, and we'll give examples. Kulam yodim shetalmud Torah k'nei kulam. Everybody knows, you say it every morning, I hope you've said it by now, that it says that learning Torah is equal to everything else. Yeshem anoshim zochel ulmod kol hayom. There are those who merit to learn a whole day. Yeshem ke'elu shelo zochel, and there are others who haven't merited to learn a whole day. V'em yoshim shah achas b'yoyim. They study 1 hour a day. Uba mekablim kesher Torah, and through that they get their connection to Torah. So the margish ulamad shah. So a person who feels that he learns for an hour. Baruch Hashem uzochel ulmod Torah, and thank God he merited to learn Torah. So that's definitely a very positive feeling. But you should know that feeling that you have is what the most superficial feeling you have towards this fulfillment of the mitzvah of learning Torah. And he'll explain. Hashem gave us a Torah for what reason? That through the power of Torah we can recognize Hashem. Zohi tachlisa shel Torah. That's the goal of Torah. Lagia lahakaras nosana lahakaras avori. That we come to recognition of the one who gave it, meaning recognition of Hashem. We're learning Torah to recognize God in this world and to connect it. So Adam lomed yom yomayim chodesh chashayim shana shnasayim. A person learns a day, 2 days, a month, 2 months, a year, 2 years. Does the person, can a certain person stand back and reflect on the last 2 years and say, boy, I recognize Hashem a lot more now than I did 2 years ago? Lakar yoser dakas, are there more refined recognition of Hashem? The answer generally to that question is no. I don't feel any more closer to Hashem. Samach Beis. Yeshna Nashim Shein Choshem Oseh Klal. The people don't even think about this at all. They just do the mitzvah of learning because they know this is the main thing in life. It's the biggest mitzvah you can do, so I'm doing it. The Talmud Torah can Kulam. That's what they say. But a person who's a little more deeper of a person, he reflects and asks himself, have I fulfilled the mitzvah of learning Torah the way it was meant to be kept? And if so, so why do I remain so far away from where I should be? How much closer do I feel to Hashem? Let's give an example for this. A person comes to the airport. He gives them, he checks in his bags. So then he figures, okay, now I'm going to get on the plane. But at the end, for various reasons, they didn't let him get on the plane. So what happens? It ends up, his bags are getting to Tel Aviv, but this guy is staying here in Toronto.
Not anymore, they take your bags up.
On the ground. For whatever reason. Let's say he got caught after whatever, but generally. So what's this analogous to? The Mishnah in Pirkei Avos says, when a person leaves this world, that his money, his gold, his diamonds and jewels do not accompany him, only his Torah and good deeds accompany him to the next world. Which means, he has full luggage. He's going to the full American tourister line. He's full of mitzvahs. The only question is, what if security up in Shemayim allows his bags to go through, but they don't allow him to go through? It's an interesting way of looking at it. The way we look at it now, you're going to get there, but your money and gold and silver aren't going to get there. Now they're telling you, your Torah mitzvahs are going to get there, but you ain't going to get there. The Torah he learned got to the place he's supposed to get there. But he himself, the one who learned it, he stays there on the ground. I'm not sure what the word himri means. I guess he never took off, or he never took off. Right. So, in other words, and that's a very interesting idea. You did certain mitzvahs. Those mitzvahs have a certain value, don't they? They've done something, in the realm of action at least, something's happened, and those mitzvahs have some place above. But you didn't feel any connection to Hashem in doing those mitzvahs. So you never took off. So you're on the ground, as it were. In other words, you're not there in the next world to enjoy the benefits of the mitzvah that you did in the way it was meant to. Okay, you could have questions on this analogy, but
because how can you separate the two?
You could separate.
The one who did the mitzvah.
I understand he did the mitzvah, but he didn't do it with the right intention. He wasn't thinking about what this mitzvah was accomplished.
He did it by rote.
Again, a guy gives his wife a present, and what's the present? A check for $1,000 for the birthday. And like he doesn't even give a card and doesn't really give much warmth and love. So the wife takes the $1,000 and says, "You could stay out on the couch tonight. I'll take your gift, but I don't need you." It's the same thing. You have to be part of what you're doing, right? And if you're not part of what you're doing, the whole point of doing the mitzvah was to get close to Hashem. If you didn't get close to Hashem by doing the mitzvah got done, but you didn't get done with it.
Are all mitzvahs equal?
All mitzvahs have to bring you closer to Hashem. Every mitzvah has to be done for the purpose of getting you close to Hashem. You should be thinking about it. You should be trying. You should be working on that. You should feel connected when you're doing that mitzvah.
So all the luggage the guy has, all the mitzvahs he's done, not even one single one is done for the purpose.
That's what we said. Remember,
why wouldn't he be allowed in?
Because there's nothing to get in for. There's nothing for him to enjoy. Remember, what
Relationship.
Well, you know, what is the pleasure of Olam Haba if nothing more than enjoying being in the presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu?
Right. But
you never enjoyed it your whole life. You never enjoyed being in the presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You never thought about it once in your whole life.
From all the mitzvah this particular guy did, not one was for that purpose?
Not enough. You have to do enough to get it. I don't think it's that hard to accept.
Otherwise, keeping you out of the bedroom. You have no relationship with the other person.
You know, you have people who are married. You have people married for 40 years. They don't know their spouses.
Oh, come on.
They don't know their spouses.
Well, they're divorced by now. That's
no, but they're busy with their own lives, and you know they don't really. You know, they're not. Again, I come back to the simple proofs. If you were so close to Hashem, why are you doing Aveirah still?
That's because we're imperfect.
Well, you have a relationship with... Did you sleep with other women? Did you sleep with other women, Sam?
No.
Why not? There's a lot prettier women than your wife. No offense. I'm saying lots of people in the world. I'm just saying because you feel a connection with her. You couldn't do such a thing to her. You feel connected to her. Right? That's why you don't betray her. Why do people do Aveirahs against Hashem?
Right.
Why don't they? Because they don't feel close to Him.
We're imperfect human beings.
No. Again, you're an imperfect person. You're still loyal to your wife. But you're so imperfect, you shouldn't be loyal to your wife.
In certain areas I am, certain areas I'm not. I'm not totally imperfect or totally perfect. Nobody is like that. Even the greatest tzaddik, you said yourself, even the greatest tzaddik is not totally perfect. He makes Aveirah. So why do we do that? Why do we punish ourselves?
Okay, you're mixing into a lot of things. You're mixing a lot of things over here. To the degree people do Aveirahs, they do a lot of Aveirahs, they're not connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Again, if you have to ask yourself, where would I rather be more than any place in this world? The answer should be in Hashem's arms.
Okay.
And people don't live that way. They don't live that way.
There's one person that lives that way?
There's many people who live that way. Now, even in that way, okay, maybe you're 99% that way. But there's a lot of people that, you know, there is a certain minimal level, and like 2% I don't think cuts it.
Oh, now we're going into percentages.
You think about Hashem, maybe during Kedusha, for 5 minutes on Shabbos I think about Hashem. The rest of the week you don't, then you're really generally not thinking about Hashem.
So those who don't reach 99% might
I'm not talking about 90. I'm not talking 99%.
Forget about it. That's it.
I'm not talking about 99%. I'm talking about people who, by and large, are focused and thinking about Hashem throughout their lives.
Okay.
And that's very few people.
Right.
So that's a major problem.
Oh, okay, so there is a problem.
Of course there's a problem. That's what we're saying. The person goes to shul, doesn't think about it. Anybody who goes to shul that's a fast minion is not thinking about Hashem.
That's one aspect of it.
That's a very big aspect.
Fine. Most
Orthodox Jews fall into that aspect, my friend.
Right.
So that's not a little thing.
So these people...
Most people want to know the soonest time that Shabbos is over to get out of Shabbos.
Right. So
that means they're not that thrilled to be with Hashem. There's other things that are more important to them.
So they won't even come close to Hashem.
There's going to be problems. There's major... Again, they're not going to enjoy the world to come. We've already brought up many times the Rebbe who said, if you don't feel close to Hashem in this world, the next world you'll be like a bench.
It's like
not feeling anything.
With your wife.
You're starting with my wife, leave her out.
Okay. just saying, you know, it's a question. Do you feel close to Hashem? Do you not? That's the bottom line. So after a person's learning, why is he learning? Because you're supposed to. But are you feeling close to Hashem because learning? You think, now I got closer to Hashem today. Now I learned another part of His wisdom. It feels so good. Right? So, you know, something you got to work on. It doesn't happen overnight, but you're learning for that purpose. They rush to the Daf Yomi, and they rush through the davening, and they rush to work, and they're just not thinking about Hashem throughout the day.
The reason I say this is because...
I think the Mashal is giving us all a bit of trouble, but I don't think he means literally.
The mitzvahs
I don't think he means it literally. In other words, what he's saying is that your Torah and mitzvahs went somewhere that you weren't quite with them.
That's what we're saying. That's exactly what I think the Mashal is very clearly saying. Your mitzvahs have gone somewhere, but you're not with them.
How could they go somewhere unless you meant to do them? I don't understand.
You're not enjoying them. You don't want to be with them.
There's three realms of any activity in life. There's the realm of thought, speech, and action. Okay? Action is the lowest level It's the lowest level. It doesn't have your mind or heart involved in it. You can do things without thinking and without feeling. Right? If there's no heart and no mind, then you aren't there. For that matter, a monkey could have been doing it.
The monkey can't do that. You see that?
No, you were acting like a monkey. If you're going through the actions and it's a robotic function, then it's like a monkey. You're a little better than a monkey. You're a smarter monkey. But so the actions are done. The actions accomplish something insofar as action, but you weren't connected to those actions. The real you isn't your body. Remember, your body doesn't go up there. It's your neshama. That neshama, the inner you, has to be connected, and that inner you is not connected to what you're doing. So the mitzvahs are going, but you're not there. There's no feeling in the gift you give to your wife. She gets the gift, but she didn't get part of you. You're not there.
So who's going to benefit from these?
Klal Yisrael benefits. There's other. What happens to the idea when people speak lashon hara, they lose their mitzvahs. What happens to mitzvahs? Others benefit from it. That's what. What was his name? The poor rabbi. I've spoken about it so many times. When Hashem told him how much oil Mahav he's getting, he wanted more. Why do you want more? From the people who did mitzvahs, but they're not going to collect on it. You know what it's like? I'll give you an example. A person pays into social insurance and dies at 65. So over the course of his lifetime, he probably paid in, $100,000, $200,000, right? He paid in. Who's going to benefit? You know who's going to benefit? The other people hanging around to collect. Right? You're going to say, but what do you mean? He put the money in. He put the money in, but he didn't get in. He didn't benefit from it. So when you're doing mitzvahs, it goes into the pool. It's into the pool. It's the pool of Klal Yisrael. There is some benefit. People do go to shuls every day. That people notice it. There's something for HaKadosh Baruch Hu there, but not a lot.
But he gets something.
Yeah, he'll get rewarded in this world. He gets rewarded in this world, in Sei Gesund. There's not much for you in the next world. You know what your reward is? You sit in the back. It's going to be a soccer game for me. Imagine, you'll be up there, and you're going to be bored to death. But you can't die. So you're up in Shemaim, and what are they doing now? They're davening Shmoneh Esrei. Forever. And you reach in your pocket, there's no Palm Pilot. You won't. Let's go here, Rabbi Shalom. From Avinu, he's taking so long, Chazaras Hashatz. The repetition's taking 3 hours. There's no Palm Pilot. What am I going to do? I'm going to do nothing. What do you mean nothing? I'm bored. Well, we're talking about Hashem. I'm not interested in Hashem. That's what we're saying. What do you mean? I never trained myself. It's like watching a soccer game and you don't appreciate the details. You're bored. How long can I watch it already? You're going to be watching it forever. So what does that mean? It means your luggage got in and you didn't. You didn't get in. That's what he's saying.
I think, Rabbi, the problem is that it seems binary rather than this qualitative continuum of, because people aren't totally disconnected or fully connected, but rather there's a continuum. So
listen, leave it to Hashem to work out the details. All right? But again, the tzaddik is suggesting that there's many, many people who go through a whole day and just not thinking about Hashem the whole day. Okay, maybe you don't feel that way because you've been learning this stuff that's making you think about it. You have to remember, 99% of Jews are not learning these Sfarim. Got it? They're not learning these Sfarim. And therefore they're doing things, as the Navi says, mitzvahs anashim ulumada, robotic observance. And you can see it's robotic. So then where is Hashem in the picture there? It's incredible. It's just not in the picture. Or at rare times when you need him. When you're out of work, then you give him a call. Right? When you're not feeling well, then you give him a call. All right. So from time to time. But when things are going fine, you don't need him at all. You don't give him a call. You don't ask rabbis questions because you don't want to know what Hashem has to say in that matter. I'd rather not hear what Hashem has to say. So why don't you want to hear it? So that's what he's saying. All right, there's a continuum. But clearly, there are people who are not getting anything out of this.
You know, Rabbi, I can think of the most connected moment I ever had with my spouse. And if I try and use that as an analogy to try and be connected to Hashem, I can't see how one makes an eternity. It's a moment that's incredibly pleasurable, let's say, that you feel the most connected you've ever felt to your spouse. But to make an eternity out of that moment, or make yourself into that eternity.
Sure. No, that's what you do. So you feel that way about your wife. So when you're staying late at work, do you think about your wife to call you're going to be late? Okay. Did you? If you did, that means you're still connected to her, even when she's not next to you. It's like I don't make a move, I'm not saying every second of the day, but everything I'm doing is something connected to my spouse, right? And I know if I've been at work for a number of hours and I'm going to be late, for sure I call. It's not something it's on a to-do list. It's instinctive because you feel that connected. Oh, she always makes supper for me. It's always ready at 6 o'clock. I'm not going to come till 7, and it's 5. I should tell her no.
Yeah, but you're
why? And if you don't.
That's not what he's saying. What he's saying is what Howard's saying, and this is the difference between Olam Hazeh and Olam Haba, I think. He's saying he can't imagine, because we're still in Olam Hazeh, taking that incredible moment and making that moment eternal. That's what you're saying, right? But that's Olam Haba. We only get a taste of it here. That's the incredible pleasure that we're going to get.
No, well, again, there are tzaddikim who in this world could feel this way all the time. They're always feeling Hashem is right over here. They feel Hashem is there all the time, right? So you could feel in many. Now Hashem obviously is greater than your wife, believe it or not, right? But I'm just using a wife as an analogy.
Yeah, I'm trying to take a step from there to say, okay, if that's the most connected you can feel to something, okay, then try and make it into eternity if that's what the goal is.
Well, if you're always with your wife, what if you will now always be with your wife? What if you'll always be on vacation with your wife? Then you'll always feel that way. You never have to go to work. What if you didn't have to go to work? Then you say, let's continue having this pleasurable time together. Right? But with Hashem does follow you. He follows you everywhere. You don't say goodbye to Him. Right?
I guess the idea is this static moment, and you're trying to take a static moment and make it eternal.
So Olam Haba is that.
I know.
So we're saying, again, Hashem is different than a wife. Wife we use as an analogy, just an analogy. Hashem is some being that can always be with you wherever you are. It's not just one moment. For your entire life in this world, Hashem can always be with you. Can't He?
Yeah.
Can't He be with you in the boardroom? He can be everywhere. He can be with you in the washroom. He can be everywhere. So Olam Haba will continue to be with you everywhere, at all times. The spouse analogy is just trying to get certain points across about that. If you really felt connected to your spouse, you would not betray her. If you felt connected to your spouse, you wouldn't forget about her during the day. It's possible to think of her every minute of the day. The answer is maybe you don't need to think of her every minute of the day. But Hashem you do. Hashem you do. The spouse is the first step towards a deeper relationship appreciation, that of which you have with Hashem.
I'm just trying to picture what would it be like to live every moment of every day if you were totally connected to Hashem. And
that's Olam Haba. That's Olam Haba. So there are tzaddikim who are able to live in Olam Haba in this world. Remember, this world only is creating barriers between you and Hashem. But tzaddik means he can remove the barriers. So there's no barriers. Says Hashem's there all the time. Because the truth is, He is here all the time. Why don't we notice it? Because of the barriers. So just remove the barriers, and then He's there all the time. That's the whole avod of Chassidus. All avod of Chassidus is to live our version of Olam Haba in this world, to enjoy every minute being with Hashem in this world, notwithstanding the apparent disturbances. Not let those disturbances get you off track. Olam Haba is just without the disturbances. There's no disturbances. No boss threatening to fire you in Olam Haba. That could, for maybe temporarily, get you off bearings of Hashem. Yeah.
We said that there's certain tzaddikim who live with Hashem in this world all the time.
Yeah.
But most of us don't. And there's those that we said won't be connected to our mitzvahs?
Again, there's a continuum, and let Hashem worry about the details. Let Hashem worry about the details. And that's why you need a certain amount of Gehenim.
I mean, you want to maximize.
You want a certain amount of Gehenim to get rid of the false notions that have separated you from Hashem. Let's say, for example, you believe that besides Hashem there's another very powerful force, and that's called money. Which, unfortunately, most people in this world suffer from this, right? And their happiness and sadness depends a lot on how much money they have, right? Now, why would a person feel that way? Because that's a different God that they believe in. It's a different God that they believe in. There's the God of money. If there's a lot of money in the bank, I'm happy. If there's not, I'm not happy. Finished. Where does Hashem bring a picture? Hashem is not involved in my monetary affairs. So that money issue is a block that prevents you from connecting to Hashem. Right? Your avoda is to what? Say, money has nothing to do with my connection to Hashem. I have to really realize it's Hashem who's giving me or not giving me the money, and this money is just a vehicle of how Hashem operates with me. That's all. And more money or not money, that's nothing. My pleasure is only one thing. Am I connected to Hashem? Not connected to Hashem, irrespective of my financial position. A person who doesn't live that way his whole life, to that degree, that has separated him from Hashem. So what has to happen? In Gehenna, he has to have the painful lessons of how money was not your God. And however Hashem deals with that. And if he feels that it's worthwhile to get you into that issue, that he feels maybe then you will get close to him or not. It's all things for him to decide. There's going to be a break point in the continuum. There's a break point. As the Rambam says, you got to be majority, focused to Hashem. Who knows the majority? Hashem knows. Hashem knows and sees by what you do. Again, we're not saying people aren't going to get rewarded, but what kind of reward is it going to be? Things remember, the reward is being close to Hashem. If that's not what you're interested in, it's of little value to you. It's little value to you. If there's something you're interested in and you made mistakes, but it had a value to you, you said, today was a good day, I felt close to Hashem. But yesterday wasn't such a good day. But I really want to have these days. Then Hashem says, you want to get close to me, but you have some deficiencies. So I'll clean up the deficiencies so you'll be able to be close to me. But if you again, I'm sorry to say, you go to most Jews in a typical Orthodox synagogue, you say, what is your main goal in life? They're not going to say it's to feel the closeness and the embrace of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So then what have you been spending your whole life doing? If we're saying that is my goal, and every day I daven that I should feel close to Hashem, and what can I do? The day overpowers me, and I'm not strong enough to deal with it. And then at night I cry to Hashem. Most of the day I didn't think about Hashem, and it was terrible. And I daven Hashem to help me. So the way you want to go, Hashem will take you that way.
That's what he said in the other books. Do you want to want?
Right? You want to want. Do you want to want? Okay, if you don't want to want, then Hashem's saying, then you're not interested. So, Nebuch, I love you, but you're not interested. So I'll give you what's on your level. You like money, I'll give you money. You're a happy Jew with your money, fine, you're a happy Jew with your money. And then what else? You don't really think much more, so there isn't more. And that's all. Your neshama will go somewhere else, to someone else who will appreciate it more and let them enjoy it more.
I got an interesting analogy with the baggage. It's like your wife asks you to load the dishwasher, and you don't really want to do it because you got other things really you need to do. So you load the dishwasher anyways, even though in your mind you're really kind of not happy that you're loading the dishwasher. You ended up succeeding. All the dishes are in the dishwasher. You got the thing done, but it didn't connect you to your wife at all.
Right? Same idea. Okay, let's continue. Adam tzarech tamid livdok im be'emes histachech alev yisachech hamocha dei apilus ruchani shupo b'torah b'mitzvahs masdovim. Person has to constantly check himself if he truly has purified his heart and mind through the various spiritual activities he does in Torah, mitzvahs, and good deeds. Yes, I've learned Torah today. Yes, I've done good deeds. Yes, I've done mitzvahs. But is my mind and heart any closer to Hashem? Do I feel any more spiritual? Adam lamed shana shleima talmud Torah. A person learns a whole year Torah. Has his mind been more refined over the whole year? Many times he doesn't remember what he learned. But even if he does remember, his mind didn't change. Your mind has to change. Another example. A person hires a worker to build him a house. He engages him for a year. Gives him a year contract to finish the house. Day number 1, the owner comes and he sees he sees the worker already built the first row of the house. Oh, very good. I guess I can go home. I don't have to watch him. I'll come back in a year. He'll obviously have it done. So all year long he sends him checks every week. He sends him a check. He doesn't go to the job site, but he sends him a check every week. Big mistake. At the end of the year he comes. He sees they're still in the first row. But he turns to the worker with complaints. You see, either you lied to me, or this is like when the Jews were in Pisim and Ramses, when they had to build the cities, they kept sinking into the ground. It's one of the two. There ain't ever be a building the way things are going. Oh, so what's this analysis to? A person can learn Torah, but the brain remains the same brain. Goes into a class. He hears the laws, walks out. He tries to do them. That's a big thing he's doing. The root, but the main point of learning is that the mind should develop a refinement. He should acquire a holy intellect of Torah. Whereas the whole point of learning Torah is to change your mind from a physical, animalistic mind to a pure Torah mind. Hashem wants you to think like Him. That's why you're learning Torah, to think like Hashem, to look at the world the way Hashem looks at the world. That's the purpose of learning Torah. Hashem is giving you His wisdom. If you incorporate His wisdom into your being, now you have His wisdom. You live a different lifestyle if you have that kind of a wisdom. Again, we come back to that idea. You've learned all the studies that smoking is hazardous to your health. Why are you still smoking? Because you haven't incorporated that wisdom into your life. Right? You haven't incorporated it, and not only that, you should have certain feelings and emotions. You should have a hatred to cigarettes. You should be very emotionally involved to get rid of cigarettes from your life. You should have an emotional connection to the information, a reality connection to that information. Where is that? Because you spent the whole year, it didn't change you at all. You're not a different person at all. Next page, Samachimel. Adam Yochel Asos Harbi Mitzvah. The person has a lot of mitzvahs. Vav Shaklal. You know the rule is. Usually, the Sefer Chinuch says that your heart go after your actions. The more you do something, the more your heart gets connected to it. But many times, the heart doesn't get pulled after the actions. He checks his situation now vis-a-vis a year ago. He says, not only was there not a growth, but he feels there may have been even a loss. He doesn't understand. The Gemara says even the wicked ones are filled with like a pomegranate seeds. I'm full of it. I did so many mitzvahs this year. So much Torah. So much chesed. Harbe mitzvahs. All the mitzvahs, but he's done it, but the heart didn't change. How's it possible? Your heart didn't change. You did so many actions. The answer is that tshuva. Here's the point. Because from the beginning, he never got into this to change the way he feels and thinks. He didn't get into it with that goal in mind. He works to do. He doesn't yearn to purify. Not his heart, not his brain. The guy, went to the mikveh a million times. He rolled in snow. He did this. He wanted to get one thing. You know what he wanted? Why do you do all those things? Why do you go to the mikveh every Erev Shabbos? Why'd you? Why? Because in Shemaim wants him to write that his sins are forgiven. That's all. I want to have a clean slate. I don't want to get punished. But is that all? Is that the only thing you were? I want to get brownie points. Why? That he wasn't thinking about. He's not looking to purify his mind and to make it more refined. She didn't check if after a month, 2 months, half a year, his mind is holier. His thoughts are deeper. Thoughts are purer. So more in line with what the Torah feels. No. He says it's written in the Arizal, do these mystical things. Who else he does it? Davening, we're finished, done. They say you should put a key in the challah before Rosh Chodesh year. I put the key in the challah. Okay, I did it. Did you now believe really in your heart that your parnas all depends on Hashem? So that when somebody, cheated you in business, you didn't get so annoyed. So Hashem took it away from you, finished. End of the day. That's all. No. But he just said, well, that's what the Zohar said, that's what I did. You're the same guy, you didn't change an iota. You have to understand, Chassidus is building the mind and building the heart. Just like Luzzatto started the book and said, what is the foundation of Chassidus and the root of wholesome service to Hashem, etc., etc. That's the whole point of the book. The end of the day is what you were thinking to begin with. Before you start the trip, you got to know, where do I plan on ending the trip? The goal is you want the mind to be purified, to be refined and very close. You want the heart to be purified. Then the heart and mind can be a unified utensil to have the Almighty's presence rest in the mind and in the heart of the person. Okay, so that is what the goal is. And if you're not thinking about that goal, then the details don't become important and nothing becomes important. Then you don't care. Who cares if it's such an important hefsher? Now you can understand why there has to be detail in your mitzvah observance. Okay, you wash your hands in the morning. Did you wash them to the wrist the way the halacha says? I just washed them. A couple fingers got wet. I went through the motions. No, there's a reason why it has to go to the wrist. There's a reason why it has to go to the wrist. Right? There's a reason why the tefillin have to be on properly. There's a reason why all these details are important. So how do you tell that a person's not into it? Because he slacks off on the details. Right? And that's what he says in the next line, and that we'll pick up next week. He says, now you understand, to reach the goals of Chassidus, it requires a lot of effort and great amounts of investment. Okay. Shkoyach.